Immediately, he cancelled the election. The bottle burst. And that Abacha became a new man. He now realized he didn't know him from beginning. That was true. And the reason was because Abacha was in support of Babangida's intention to annul the election. So Abacha knew it and created the impression to him. Because it will be in Abacha's interest if that civilian rule is annulled. It will help him to become the head of state. So that Abacha started recruiting some of those progressive military men like Dangiwa. Abacha knew that Dangiwa was very honest. Dangiwa was in charge of the group who wanted the revalidation of June 12th. They were ashamed that the army made a promise to the people and they are reneging from the promise, and that the uniform they are wearing should be a uniform of honor, that when they pass through the street of Nigeria, Nigeria should respect them. And Babangida, having reneged on his promise, should go. Abacha knew this thing. So Abacha now created the impression to the Dangiwa group that he wants to help revalidate the June 12th. And that Babangida did not want to leave power. That if Babangida doesn't go, they will throw him out forcefully. And the Dangiwa group, being sincere, liked it. Because they thought they were dealing with a general who wants to revalidate June 12th. So Abacha, immediately Babangida annulled the election. Abacha withdrew his support from Babangida. And Babangida knew who Abacha was. So Babangida knew he was in problem. And Abacha now had secured the support of all those progressive professional coup plotters who genuinely want to revalidate June 12th. So when Babangida saw it, that was when Babangida now knew. And when he extended the transition, Nigerians were no longer interested. Nigerians moved against him. So he decided to step aside on the 27th of August. That was a major victory for Abacha. Now, when Babangida has decided to step aside, Abacha now does no longer need the Dangiwa people who wants to revalidate the June 12th. Abacha created impression to MKO that MKO should just be patient. He can go outside the country and relax so that when they finish stabilizing the country, because Babangida instituted an interim government when he's going on August 27th. If Babangida wanted MKO, he would have simply revalidated the June 12th and said MKO should be sworn in on August 27th, and that would have just been the end of it. But Abacha group did not want it because Abacha wanted to be head of state. So Abacha preferred the interim government as a compromise. Immediately now, then MKO trusted Abacha because Abacha doesn't talk much. Abacha started giving, when he goes to deliver, message, because he doesn't grant interviews, but, like an address as the joint chief of staff, he will talk democracy, how he loves democracy, and MK was praising him. So when the Dangiwa group, when Babangida decided to step aside, Abacha did not need the Dangiwa group anymore, because the Dangiwa group will now be an obstacle to him. So immediately the interim government now was set up. Abacha started retiring them. So Dangiwa now went to him and Abacha said, you offered to retire. When Babangida did what he did, Dangiwa offered to retire from the army instead of being part of the shame. They encouraged him not to retire, including Abacha. Then Abacha needed him. He said, no, you shouldn't retire. This Babangida doesn't. You see, court has declared you illegal. You can no longer guarantee the security. And then Shoneko had to resign. And when Shoneko resigned, Abacha assumed the head of state. By a law written by Babangida. Babangida, when he was going, said, in the event that the interim national government collapses or resigns or is dead, the most senior minister will take over power. Abacha was the most senior minister. And Babangida was to confess in his book that he knew, even when he was saying that Shoneko was going to collapse. So eventually, Babangida now made way for Abacha to take over. The same person you're accusing, he was the one who annulled the June 12. In fairness to Babangida, in that particular point, there needed to be a very strong military man to be able to hold Nigeria together then, because everything was scattered. So, when Abacha now assumed power, MKO was one of the earliest callers. I still remember the sofa. Both of them sat. Abacha, called even when MKO sat down in the sofa. Abacha told him to shift closer. And MKO shifted closer. And then Abacha, they took the picture and he beamed it to the whole world and created the impression that everybody supports his emergence. Having gotten that stability, he started reneging. By the time MKO realized it, it was too late. MKO, in frustration, declared himself president. Abiola took him, put him in jail. Abiola did not want to kill him. Abiola knew that if MKO is alive and is in jail, it's better for him. Why? No other politician would want to be president, because the sword of June 12 was hanging on everybody's head. So you can only rule by force. You can only rule by decree. So he kept him, was feeding him in jail, and was enjoying the palace. The irony of the Nigerian Federation, the people who ought to be in jail are always in the presidency, and the people who are in the presidency ought to be in jail. It is still continuing till today. Abiola, that won an election free and fair, was kept in jail, and the people who truncated his mandate, truncated the sovereign will of the people, who conducted a coup against the Third Republic, they were in the presidency. Abacha remained there, kept Abiola in jail. And when Abacha wanted to conduct his own transition to civil rule, you know what happened? All the parties came together to unanimously adopt Abacha as the presidential candidate. That was why Bola Ige said, this is 5 fingers of a leprous hand, and destroyed the integrity of the transition. The politicians were not doing it because of sycophancy. They were doing it because there was no vacancy. Even if you are elected as president, as a politician, how do you solve the June 12 issue? So, suddenly from nowhere, Abacha died. And then, about 1 month after, from nowhere, Abiola died. I've always said that the same thing that killed Abacha killed Abiola. I don't know. If you say it's of natural consequence, 2 of them died of natural consequence. If you say there was a hand of Esau, the same hand of Esau that killed one, killed the other one, I don't know. But I know that both of them suddenly, in the same circumstance, Abacha attended a state function a day before, and the next day we heard he died. Fell down, swooned on the mouth, foam coming out, and died. Abiola was being negotiated with, foreign and domestic, and suddenly he died after drinking one tea. That tea, I don't know where it was made from. So that was how both of them died. That was how Abdul Salam came in, and we entered the Fourth Republic. That's the Fourth Republic we are in now. It was an unfortunate incident. Babangida should have solved this problem in his book by making one statement. I was the head of state and commander-in-chief of the armed forces during June 12. The annulment of June 12 was under my watch. It was an unfortunate thing I did, which I know from the benefit of hindsight I shouldn't have done. I regret that action. I am sorry about that action. I seek for your forgiveness. Forgive me. it is one thing that I did which I know I shouldn't have done. Let this be the atonement for the June 12. That's all. Why would you shift blame to your junior officers? It's an insult